Schedule a free design consultation, and the more you buy, the more you'll save on blinds, shades, shutters, and more from Budget Blinds. Visit budgetblinds.com today.
Government employees in Saskatchewan are now legally allowed to strike thanks to a ruling by Canada's Supreme Court. The decision overturns the Essential Services Law Premier Brad Wall and the Saskatchewan Party put in place back in 2007. At the time, healthcare workers, correctional officers, and snowplow operators were all on strike. The recently elected government thought without these essential services, the public's health and safety were at risk.
Under the Constitution, we all have the freedom of assembly, the freedom of association. As we know, the Supreme Court of Canada is the overall ruler of all courts, and whatever their decision is the decision of the day and has to be adhered to.
MLA Colleen Young says Labour and Safety Minister Don Morgan will re-examine the Essential Services Act with his cabinet and Premier Wall.
The next step would be probably to have some cooperation as well as some conversation and some consultation with trade unions in the province.
The Supreme Court has given the Saskatchewan government 1 year to write new legislation. You will soon be able to get emergency alerts directly from the Saskatchewan government to your cell phone. Through the Weather Network app, you can receive notifications about emergencies in your area. The government is testing the use of the app for their alert system as well.
Sask Alert is designed to give trusted and accurate information with critical information and instructions to people that may be in peril.
The new Sask Alert system has begun testing in the western part of the province. It will take about $700,000 to put in place, but won't require much maintenance.
Over the next month, we're going to test the policies, procedures, and our connection to the national network to ensure that all of those things are in place.
The system will eventually be part of a national alert system. Many provinces, including Alberta, already have such systems in place. The border city's history is on display at City Hall. The Lloydminster Regional Archives is hoping to entice residents into learning about their past during Archives Week. As Jeremy Thompson reports, the pictures there are worth more than 1,000 words.
Dr. Dawn Duncan and Joanne McLaughlin pore over the photographs at City Hall, passion for the region's history visible in their eyes.
Our job at the Archives is to be our community's memory, and we gather and we share information and images of our community's past so that people can appreciate where we've come from and who we are.
The Regional Archives Group uses donated pictures to piece together the area's history and document noteworthy events.
It's about embracing our history and sharing our history, trying to get people interested in the past and to reflect.
Archive volunteers are meticulously digitizing nearly 20,000 photos. Each one of them has a story. Some recent enough to have our current Mayor Rob Saunders in them. Others date back as far as 1885.
What's the name?
Chris.
This is one of the older pictures in our collection, and it shows piles of bison bones. The bones were gathered up, loaded onto rail cars, and ultimately were processed for the nitrate content of the bones, and they were made into a component of gunpowder.
Dr. Duncan is full of stories like that one. Everything from the region's first oil derrick to opening day at the Civic Center. McLaughlin is quick to remind me that history isn't all about the past.
We are here now. We're part of the history. We're sharing a moment in history as we speak. To go back and look at photographs of their families and their past is very important to who we are today. Our past is our present.
Jeremy Thompson, Newcap News.
The photos will be on display at City Hall for the rest of the week. Mayor Saunders will speak about them at a public reception Thursday morning at 10. The plunging oil price is a topic many people are talking about in Alberta and Saskatchewan. These ups and downs are trends seen over the years, and in 1990 it was no different. In this week's retrospect, Anna Knotve brings us a story of local reaction to budget cuts in the industry.
Vic Juba with Husky Oil in Lloydminster says he doesn't expect any negative fallout from this budget. And he says once again that the upgrader will definitely not be affected.
It's an equity investment by 4 partners, the federal government, the 2 provinces, and Husky. And that's in place. The agreement is signed. We are constructing, in fact, at this point in time, I think we've got something like $400 million that's committed.
But the same cannot be said for the Oslo oil sands project near Fort McMurray. The federal government has announced that they will not supply any funding for this project. But Juba adds that this doesn't necessarily mean that the project is off.
They have not really shut down Oslo. All they're saying is they're pulling out. They will continue to support the engineering phase, which has another couple of years to go. And then it's kind of an open field where find a partner.
Juba does add that he's pleased to see the government is going to sell off Petro-Canada, although he doesn't know who could possibly buy it.
Well, there's not too many players out there. Of course, I think as Canadians, we will try and push the Canadian component versus a foreign buyout, but it's hard to say what Petro-Canada is worth. We've heard something like $45 billion book value. And
Karina Fairbrother, Broadcast Center News.
Well, we fast forward 20 years and Petro-Canada is mostly owned by Suncor and is worth more than $18 billion. Well, I'm Anna Knotfate, and that's Retrospect.